and I
Audacity
will.
is recording. OBS is recording. They both should be good.
Good. Okay. Well, John,
Jay,
hello.
what's going on?
Oh, you know, it's been a little more active around here recently. Charlie, my youngest, he got a stomach bug. And so Monday night was probably the hardest night for me as a parent so far,
Oh no.
where he was up all night. He did not sleep at all
Okay.
and was vomiting every 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
It
Oh.
was awful. And there was absolutely nothing we could do. And it was just, oh man, what? I mean, whew, as a parent, you don't want to see your children suffer,
Yeah.
and it was just very hard to go through that, to see that, you know.
Yeah. That's rough.
It was it was hard. I did not I did not enjoy that. But he's doing much better now. He was actually eating today, and so he's doing a lot better. But so that's kind of been
That's a
taking
heavy
over most
week.
of my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far this week. So I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
Now is he old enough to where he could try to like milk this for things? Where he's like, I'm feeling better, but all I could eat is ice cream. I guess I need ice cream.
I mean, no,
Or is this just like, please let me keep anything down?
I think it's more that because it was sad. He reached
Yeah.
the point where he was even like, he knew he was about to throw up and he would look
Oh.
at us and be like, I don't wanna,
Oh.
I don't wanna, and it was like, I know, buddy, I know you don't, but there's not anything you can do.
We also don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. It was rough. It was
That's,
really
yeah.
rough.
Man.
So,
Here I
but,
was complaining, like, I got stuck in traffic on my way to work this morning, but, like, that is nothing. Absolutely nothing.
yeah. But 12 hours, he finally stopped and went to sleep. And good gracious, he slept last night. Last night he probably slept. We put him to bed at like 7, and he didn't wake up until like probably almost 8 o'clock this
Golly.
morning. Like,
That is
I know he
like
was
that
exhausted.
sounds exhausting to me. Like
Yeah,
getting to a point where you sleep for 13 hours.
yeah,
Man.
it's rough. It's rough. But on a much lighter note, I know you've had some positive things happening.
I'm trying to think. My life is so like even keel.
I know you've had some good stuff because I've seen on social media pictures of you and Meg
We've
doing
been
some fun stuff.
we've been going to soccer games, big fan of the team. A friend of mine who has played for the team. I think this is his sixth season. I don't think. I know he's been here 6 years. Scored his first major league goal this past weekend. So
There you go.
that was very satisfying. I was so happy for a friend. I almost cried, and it's been a minute since I've made it to that point. Um, I was interviewed by somebody, just another fan of fan publication. He was like, I have some questions I want to run past you about your fandom and the history of you as a fan of the team. And I was like, oh, that's freaking cool. And so he's been doing one of those every week. I just was lucky enough to be the first one.
Nice.
So it's soccer season is always when my social life kind of exists.
Yeah. So that feels good.
Yeah. And I almost mentioned this to Jay before we started recording. I have a mild, well, not a, no, it's an aggressive hot take about movies.
Oh
So
boy.
for Tuesday night movie night, not this week, but last week, we wrapped up our category, the 1960s, with 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
I actively dislike it.
Okay.
I don't think it holds up. It's an art film. It's not. Alien seems like a more meaningful science fiction pillar than 2001. This is not an exaggeration. You can look this up. The first half hour and the last half hour of the movie, there's zero dialogue. It is like, it's shot very well, but it's just very confusing at some stretches. And I genuinely don't think it holds up super well.
Yeah, I actually agree with this hot take.
Yes, we'll both get canceled.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree. Now, it's interesting too because you ask people what the movie is about, and most people, like, let's say you asked a room of 20 people, you will probably get 6 different responses on what the movie was actually about.
I'm going to say you'll get 7 because you'll get 6 reactions from people who have seen the movie, and you'll get a 7th reaction of like, what? There was a space odyssey in 2001 because they were born in like 2005.
Yeah,
And they
that's
think
fair.
it's a documentary.
Yes.
So, yeah. Like
have you seen the what?
Like the stuff with Hal is iconic, and Hal really is a very good cinematic villain. Is what a lot of people think. Like when people think of AI, especially with like in the last couple of months, we've had AI art kind of took off on Twitter. What is it? Chat GPT or something.
Yeah.
Is a thing now with AI chatbots, and it's just one of those like, haven't we all seen every science fiction movie ever, where AI starts fine, kills everyone?
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe
There's a very good series that dives deep into that called Terminator.
Oh, see, I feel like I've seen one of those famously on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think so. Go
There
back
was
and find that episode.
a 1 and a 2 and then a 3 and a 4 kinda and then a 5 and then Genesis. Which is like the confirmed third
yeah,
in the trilogy.
I really like. I think we talked about this. We might have been off recording. We talked about Mission Impossible and how it was frustrating how they went from 1, 2, 3 and then started having subtitles.
Naming
Terminator
them.
was the same way. It was like 1, 2, 3, Rise of the Machines, and then we're going to completely do away with the numerical.
Yeah.
Like even Fast and the Furious, like we can joke about how there's literally 10 of them, but you want to know how I know there are 10 of them, Jay? Because it's called Fast X.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Oh my gosh.
At least they're consistent.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Now, well, I was going to say something in response to your
yeah.
I was going to say the meme that you talked about, you know, like somebody thinking that the 2001 was a documentary.
Right.
Somebody put out a meme of somebody of a very young individual talking about like saying, okay, now here's an idea. What if there was a phone that stayed with the family and only stayed at the house? And then it cuts to somebody who's like our age, maybe a little older. And they're like, oh gosh, how old am I? How old? She's talking about a house phone.
Yep.
She's talking about a landline and she doesn't even know what that is.
I think a lot of things like that are people our age being deliberately dense. They're like, I'm going to say this because if you think about it, if you think of the impressions on like Twitter or other social media, that's something that just like, that can't be real. That can't be real. That can't be real. If it's not real, it's genius. Because It gets so many people talking. Like here we are talking about it. And ordinarily, I mean, I'm fairly confident we wouldn't have discussed it.
No.
But because it's like, listen to how absurd this would have been. Like I'm all for stuff like that if it's like fake idea. If it's a
Mhm.
genuine idea, Lord help us.
Yeah. But then it got me thinking, how old were you when you guys disconnected your landline at home?
My parents still have it.
They still have it.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you
And
go. So we
it's
got
in some ways I'm kind of jealous of it because that's like, do you have an email that you only use to sign up for things and it's your designated spam email?
for sure.
That's like their spam phone number.
That's awesome.
It's like every now and then it's like call from important person. Oh, we need to actually get that. But a lot of times I feel like it rings and it just, oh yeah, it's just, whatever.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I remember my sister was 14, so I would have been 19, and that's when we got rid of our home phone
Yeah.
because she finally got a cell phone, and then everybody in the family had a cell phone, so there was no reason to have a landline anymore.
Designated spam line.
That's right. Yeah. So that's really funny. Well, welcome back to another episode of They Didn't Ask Us. It's nice for you to be here. I am Jay, and this is John.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're here for another episode with you, and we are very excited. So today, we are actually reviewing a movie that got, I guess you could say, overlooked for us,
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad. And the reason why it's a good reason why we didn't review it. I ended up getting COVID right when this
Somewhat
movie was coming
aggressively.
out. Yes, very aggressively. And so I was actually in the hospital for 16 days, and then it was a very long recovery at home. So we didn't do the podcast for like 3 months, 2 months.
Because it would have been, I mean, this movie came out, it was end of summer, right? So it would have been right after our regular scheduled break.
Right.
So just kind of extended that. Yeah, that was, man,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel
So
like it was that long ago, but it was that long ago,
it was. Yeah.
which is
It
weird.
was. It is weird. So that's why it got looked over. But we decided today to give you that review for the Suicide Squad, because with James Gunn taking over DC, we thought it would be a really good idea to review this. This is his first property that he was able to acquire, that from DC, and made this movie. They gave him free reign. They said, "Do whatever you want. Here's, just have fun with it." And so I mean, by golly, he did. And so we're gonna review it because and probably have some discussion. It'll probably be a pretty quick review, honestly, because the main thing is we want to have a discussion about what we feel like that will mean for the future of DC.
Yeah.
Like looking at this, how do we feel about that?
Can this be a foundational piece moving forward?
Yes, for sure. So, but as always, first we're going to dive into the news. We actually have quite a bit of it today, starting out with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Again?
trailer dropped.
Didn't we
Yes,
just
again,
have those?
it does feel that way.
And weren't they not bad?
Not
They were fine.
the first one was pretty good,
Okay. And then it had a sequel. So, I mean,
and
that
then it had
says
a
enough.
sequel, and then they didn't make any more from there. So
Yeah. But the sequel had the guy from Arrow in it. We like the guy from Arrow.
we do.
Like him enough that I can definitely remember his name.
Stephen Amell.
Okay, you actually could. I was looking around. I was like, surely there's something. There's something in here that could remind me.
There's probably a Funko Pop.
I actually
Do you
so
have a Green Arrow Funko Pop?
I used to have one on my desk at my old job, and he did not make it to the desk at my new job. So he is either in my car or in my garage.
Oh, both sad places to be for a toy.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You never watched Toy Story, did you?
I have seen all of them but four, because
Ah,
three has a perfect ending, and I have no reason to ever see anything past it.
you're not wrong.
I am bitter. I'm
No.
upset.
So this new trailer, you have you seen it,
I have not.
John? Did
I
you?
didn't even know they were making a new one.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't either. I had no idea until I was on Twitter one afternoon, and they said the new trailer for TMNT drops tomorrow, and I was like, "What?" But
They're
it
already
is.
adapting The Last Ronin.
Oh man,
That'd be so
I would
intense.
love that, but not by Seth Rogen
No, I
because
need it. I
that's who's
need
doing this movie.
I need someone who is hilarious and known for a very unique sense of humor to adapt this very gritty, serious plot.
Like,
Like Taika Waititi doing Jane Foster Thor. Oh wait,
yes,
oh yeah, how did that go? Horribly. Okay, maybe we shouldn't do that.
yeah, about as horribly as it sounds, really.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so Seth Rogen's doing TMNT. Uh, it's a art style that I have heard been described similar to that of Into the Spider-Verse. It is somewhat similar, the art style, but it's not. It's not though.
Okay.
It's not though. It. I can see how it can be compared to that, but it's not.
Okay. It needs to not be, because the thing that makes Spider-Verse work, in addition to, I mean, everything, let's be honest, it's perfect. It's unique.
Yeah,
And trying to capture
copy that.
uniqueness, yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So, but it's kind of it's gritty. It's a dirty looking New York City. Like you can see the grime, in
Ah,
the footage.
PS3 era.
And
Okay.
the mutants, the turtles are actually being voiced by teenagers.
Huh. What a
So
concept.
mind blowing. So
You
they look like teenagers. They act like teenagers. In fact, I think it's either Mikey or Donatello has braces. So like they are fully diving into the whole teenage
Yeah.
aspect of it.
So with you actually bringing up the importance of teenagers voicing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I have two thoughts. Thought one, I completely agree. I think it's great. Thought two, could we get middle-aged people to voice the middle-aged Mutant Ninja Turtles? It's just like the after credit scene, and it's just these old men. Well, that not old. That would be like the old, like the retired Mutant Ninja Turtles. But like it's just the after credit scene, and they're just like, man, those were the days, and they're just like reminiscing like middle aged people do, instead of
Can it be
teasing a
like
sequel.
can it be like John Mulaney and Andy Samberg and
That would
and
be.
like
I love that, except for those, like I remember those people were like
Jimmy
foundational
Fallon?
for my like 10 years ago to now media intake, and then that will also make me feel old. So I don't know that I want that.
Truth hurts.
It does. It's just the cast of Hot Rod. Man,
Yes,
if Hot Rod came out today, it would be a hit, and I stand by that.
probably.
Gosh,
But yeah,
underappreciated.
I'm willing to give it a chance. It comes out, I believe, this summer sometime. Which is funny that it's coming out so soon, and I hadn't heard a single thing about it until now.
Yeah,
So I'm excited about it. Well, not excited, but I'm
vaguely looking forward to it.
I'm optimistic.
Ooh, bold.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be one of those movies that we're going to go see, probably go see it with my son, and we'll leave and we'll be like,
That was a movie.
that was fun. That was fun. They need to make more movies like that where you're just like, oh, that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Let's ride that again sometime. What if? I thought this was very interesting. So, What If was a animated series on Disney Plus that
Hmm.
explored the what if this happened? What if the simple things that you think about, like what if Iron Man didn't have that weird goatee, like that kind of stuff. But season 2 is going to give us a new hero exclusive to the MCU. And it's a Native American hero called, and I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but I'm going to attempt it. Kahori is the hero, but
Okay.
it's a Native American hero.
Has there been any type of like rumored power set, or is it still everything
So
is
the,
under wraps?
the rumor is that the test it's the what if is, what if the Tesseract, instead of landing in England or Germany or wherever it was that they found it in Captain America, instead of it being there, it fell in a lake in, like,
So it's like hundreds of years ago,
somewhere in North
Native
America. Yeah,
America. Okay. I thought it was current. That's important. That's an important distinction.
that's yes,
Hundreds of years of difference. Yeah.
yes.
That's cool
So
though.
I think that's that's an interesting
Wait,
take.
Jay, I'm now very unimpressed. You remember that movie that came out in August that we loved?
Oh
It
yeah,
was a
the
Hulu
one about the
exclusive.
alien, the
The
one
one
about the
about the
alien
thing
and
that
the and
landed.
the
It
and the
landed in
girl that, yeah.
yeah, it landed in hundreds of years ago, Native America.
Why don't they just bring her into the
I
MCU?
would be so in.
I'd be
I would
down
be
with
so
that.
in if they made her like if they canonized her somehow.
Hey, do you want me to make your day a little bit brighter?
Is it about a sequel to Prey? Because they're all gonna get murked by another predator, so I don't know that I want to see that.
No, it's who's going to be voicing the hero from this Native American hero.
Is it that actress?
Sure is.
So now she's getting typecast. I see how it is.
Hey,
No, but that is
if
that
you
is really
if
exciting.
you play it well, like John Wayne,
If you play it really well, you could end up owning a gin company. That's a shot at Ryan Reynolds.
and then also a mobile company.
And also a pro-am soccer team in like Wales or somewhere.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Welcome to Wrexham? It's like a
No.
documentary series on FX.
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds and one of the guys from Always Sunny bought a soccer team.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
yeah, no, I agree, but it's cool because he seems
Um,
like a cool dude. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. What if season 2 original hero?
what if season 2 original hero? I'm excited to see what they do with it. I don't know. I think that's cool that they're going to be making their own heroes. I really think I think that's a really good way to, that's probably a good way to do like a test trial to see, like, hey, we're kind of thinking about making this new comic series.
Yeah,
What if we introduce this character in this show? And if people are like, whoa, this character's so cool, then boom, there you go. You make the comic.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems low risk because it's like, what if this works? And if it takes off, great. Yeah, they have a hit. And if it doesn't take off, it's well, on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, we tried.
Yeah.
Um, while in the vein of Disney Plus, Willow has been canceled and
I
will not
saw
be
that.
getting a second season. Shocker there.
I will elaborate on what I said. I saw that Willow was getting canceled. I did not see Willow.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the
Uh,
movie until like last fall.
apparently nobody else did either, so
Yeah.
you're good. It's just, you take a movie that it's a very
It's a niche cult
specific,
classic.
thank you,
Yeah,
and you decide to make a series about it. I'm sorry, but that's just not going to work out very well. And then the biggest complaint that I heard about it is that Willow's really not even in it that much.
I believe that.
It's like, why not? Why make a series called Willow and then not have Willow?
Because you want to capitalize on the branding and try to bring it forward into a new generation. Maybe call it The
Well,
Willow
this new
Awakens,
generation sucks.
or
I'm kidding.
what was The Last Willow, or maybe The Rise of Willow. And I'm taking direct shots at the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And I think that's what
The
you do to
Last
try to
Willow.
modernize it.
Willow Strikes Back.
Return of the
Willow, A
Willow.
New Hope.
A new Willow.
Attack of the Willows.
The Phantom Willow.
This is fun. Um MCU, Daredevil Born Again is going to bring back Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and then also
And
John
I'm
Bernthal
so
is
excited.
coming back as Punisher.
I'm so excited for that.
So
But
that's very exciting.
but the same day that
But
that news came out, John Bernthal is returning. The people who played Foggy and Karen are not returning.
they are not. So I, for one, am thankful about that because of what they did to him in She-Hulk. Because that was one of my initial thoughts when he hooked up with She-Hulk, was I thought, now, my man, you're already with somebody else. You don't need to be hulking up right now.
Hulking up. I love that. That's funny.
So that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could just be a multiverse thing. Maybe they don't. Maybe he hasn't met Foggy yet in the MCU universe. I'm gonna say that.
MC Universe.
Yep.
I like it. But yeah, so and that series is getting 18 episodes.
What?
So that's really exciting.
I'm sorry. Aren't normal Disney Plus Marvel shows like 8?
To me, that either says they're really confident about what they're doing,
or they're really desperate.
They're that.
There's no in between.
No,
it's either going to be amazing or terrible.
It's either confidence or they're just talking a big game.
Yeah. It's either Daredevil season 2 or any Iron Fist episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, really setting the bar low with that one.
Oh my gosh. Ooh. That was rough. That was rough. So skipping or moving to universes, James Gunn has officially said that he is directing and writing the new Superman movie, which is still not cast. We still don't have a cast for that, but we do have a release date, which I read a tweet from him actually today, and I don't know, it hit me different.
It does. I read that same tweet.
Do you want to quote the tweet, or do you want me to say
I don't have it pulled up, so I don't want to do it an injustice by misquoting.
Oh gosh, well, if I'm probably going to misquote it, but he said something to the effect of he was talking to his brother about the release date, which is July something 2025.
It's 11.
July
11. I think.
And
again, I don't know.
And he told his brother that, and he said his brother broke down in tears, and very confused. He asked him what was up, and he said, "That's Dad's birthday." And so it just puts a whole new, I don't know, for me anyway, I was like, that hits a different place to say it like that. Like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
Well, and it was a multi-tweet thread. I don't know if you read, I think it was like 3 or 4 tweets. And he talks about the impact his dad had on his life, even though he's like, he didn't understand me, but he believed in me. And, that is such a key component of any good Superman story.
Mm.
Of he doesn't understand us, but he likes us, he loves us, he supports us, he believes in us. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I was not expecting that from the guy who brought us Baby Groot. But, here we are.
But here we are.
Yeah. So I have an idea for you, and I know it won't happen. It's too big of a movie for this to happen. But how nervous would you be, scale of 1 to 10, if they never announced who was cast as Superman? So you're walking into the theater and you don't know who it is. Because conceptually, I think that's a really cool idea. In practicality, I hate it.
I wouldn't be nervous exactly. I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, I don't know. That's hard. That's hard to, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
tricky
I
one.
mean, what and which is sad. I'm currently watching the show, but for the life of me, I can't remember who plays Superman in the new Superman and Lois.
Dean Cain.
Yes,
It's not.
when it's not Dean Cain.
Not in the one that's currently going on. No, Dean Cain was the one before Smallville.
Yeah,
he was the TV Superman before Smallville.
I thought that was Tim Daly.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I just there are like 4 that I actually can think of off the top of my
you're
head.
thinking of the Superman Lois and Clark.
Yes,
That's what you're thinking of.
Yes.
Yes. No, that hold on.
There's like 4 Supermen that I can actually name off the top of my head.
Lois.
It's Christopher Reeve, Brandon Ruth, Henry Cavill, and Tom Welling. I can name 4.
Tyler Hoechlin? Hoechlin.
Oh, no matter how you pronounce that, it's wrong.
Hoechlin. I don't know.
Anyway,
he is Clark Kent, and I know when they casted him, I remember seeing pictures of him and being like, that's not Superman.
What are we doing?
That's not Superman.
But if you come around now,
he is, I think the reason, and it makes, okay, so, how do I put this?
Delicately.
So here's the issue that you run into when casting a Superman, or even a Batman for that matter. You have 2 very different characters in one person.
Yeah.
So Bruce Wayne is, Bruce Wayne, he's a playboy. He's, he's flirty, he's flirtatious, he's fun, he's drunk half the time, or at least he pretends he is. But then when he's Batman, he's dark, he's brooding, he's, he hates everybody and wants to punch everybody in the face. I'm Batman. And then with Superman, you also have 2 very different characters. You have Superman, who's actually very confident and, can talk to people really well. He's not afraid. He goes in to the flaming building. He's not scared of anything. He just goes. Whereas Clark Kent he's nerdy, he's dorky, he's clumsy. He still is brave and will stand up for what is right, but does it in a very different way. And so when they casted for the show of Superman and Lois, they were thinking more of Clark Kent than they were of Superman. And so that guy plays a really good Clark Kent. Like, he nails the Clark Kent role. Whereas Henry Cavill, I don't think he really nailed the Clark Kent role. He did really good playing
What?
Superman.
The tall, stoic, chiseled from stone British guy didn't strike you as the goofy, nerdy Kansas farm boy?
Just didn't pull it off very
Wow,
well.
come on. Come on.
Just something about him.
Something about
Um,
the everything about him made me think that he was not Clark Kent.
something about the sexiness was just a little too much.
Wow. Jay taking shots at the state of Kansas. You love to see it.
Oh man. But so yeah, that's why saying going into the movie and not knowing who's going to be cast as Superman, I think whoever they cast is really going to tell us what kind of movie we're going to be going into. Now, somebody who I think did a really good job with both was Brandon Routh. He did a really good job with both.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I've only ever seen Superman Returns like on television.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
I
it's
mean,
got all those commercial breaks, it's chopped
the
up.
best.
There's probably stuff cut out.
It's not the best movie, but I would at the very least watch scenes of him as Clark Kent and then watch scenes of him as Superman. And I think he pulls both of them off very well.
Okay.
So
Like how Christian Bale was for Batman. They
yeah,
both worked.
he did. Yeah,
I
right.
was
He did an excellent job with both.
I was legitimately I was thinking about this the other day. I don't remember what prompted it, but it was very much a I really feel like we take Christian Bale for granted in the Dark Knight trilogy.
I think so too.
Because I mean, I know we've talked multiple times about, who's the best Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire was this, Andrew Garfield was that, but Christian Bale held it down.
Yeah.
And like Affleck is underrated. I'm gonna die on that hill, but I feel like underrated Affleck is still not as good as Christian Bale was
Hmm.
at both.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. I can. So real quick, I thought it would be worth going over the Shazam end credit scenes.
Do we have to?
I just thought it would be good because we didn't see the movie. We
Also,
probably won't until it's on HBO Max.
also for clarification's sake, for those people watching or listening to the show, we're reviewing these end credit scene before the movie has come out, which is a separate issue. That is a separate problem. Why are we able to do that?
And the fact that that's what everybody wants to know. Not so much how's the movie, but what happens in the end credit scenes. And I think the reason that we're all so curious about that is because we know that the DC universe is kind of restarting. And so we're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so how is this going to affect future properties? So just real quick, it's pretty quick. I will go over it. So there were two post credit scenes.
Like a
The
mid and a post, or they have
yes,
two separate
mid.
ones. You remember when which freaking Wolverine movie did that? Where it shipped with different end credit scenes?
Oh yeah,
It might have
I
been
don't know.
Origins. That
It may
seems
have
like something
been.
Origins would have done.
What a
And
strange movie.
anyway, you were saying.
Okay. The first post credit scene begins with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker characters Emilia Harcourt and John Economos.
Malkovich.
Oh, walking through the forest discussing the fact Amanda Waller has set up a meeting between them and someone. This mystery person sounds pretty important, but it's just Billy Batson standing there. They start by saying they'd like to offer him a spot on the Justice, only to be interrupted with a resounding yes. Unfortunately, the duo is talking about the Justice Society rather than the Justice League, and the disappointed teenager makes it clear he wanted to be on the main team. Billy proceeds to berate them for misleading them, while pointing out that they could and should have used a better name for their superhero group. So that's the first one.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. Which the first is that group is first introduced in Black Adam, which
We
we
also
know.
didn't see.
I did.
We didn't review.
We didn't review, yeah. It was bad, and Dwayne Johnson is not coming back as Black Adam. They have made that very clear. He is no longer working with DC. And then the second scene.
Real quick, could we start a petition? Whenever we bring Black Adam back, can it be Kevin Hart?
Yes.
The Black Adam 2 sequel starring Kevin Hart, but acting like The Rock.
Please. Please, can we do that?
It'd be incredible.
I would totally be on board. So the second scene literally is just it. So did you see the first movie?
I still have not, no.
Okay. At the end of the first movie, the villain from the first movie is in a jail cell. And he's like scribbling on the walls.
And the villain is Mark Strong, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, he plays such a good villain.
And then in comes this caterpillar. And the caterpillar is an alien from a different planet who has this telekinesis or telepathic or whatever. Telepathy. And he talks to the guy and is like, hey, I've got big plans for us if you're willing to work with me. And then that's how it ends. Well, the second scene, the second post-credit scene is literally just a reminder that still exists and will come into play in the future. And that's it.
I don't know that it's possible to say how disappointing that is to me. Because isn't there a leaked, like it's already been leaked that Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman appears in this movie?
She does, yes.
And that's not either of the credit scenes?
No.
That's in the actual movie itself.
It's in the actual movie.
Golly. Yeah. How do I somehow care less about this movie now?
Well, especially knowing that, as far as we know, she's not
coming back
Wonder Woman anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, from what we've been told, I mean, it sounds like she's not going to be.
Well,
and
if they're going to keep doing Elseworlds movies, then I would say it's possible, but she's not mainline continuity.
That's true. But also, her second movie was so bad.
And I wanted it to be good.
I wanted it to be good so bad because the first one, it was so amazing.
The first one was excellent.
So, I don't know. While we're on that topic.
Uh-oh. Jay, I'm scared. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't know what you're gonna bring up.
Well, I guess my thought is how likely do you think it's going to be that Aquaman is just going to be terrible?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that because I want it to be good so desperately.
Because I have heard some rumors that now it is early test footage, which, early audience screenings, which doesn't usually say a whole lot. But from what I've heard, it's not very good at all.
So would you think the expectation needs to be closer to Wonder Woman 1984?
I think Aquaman it might need edition? To be. Yes. Yeah.
Aquaman 1984?
Aquaman 1984.
I think that's what we should start referring it to until we're proven correct or wrong.
I agree.
For the memes. big meme guy.
To Aqua, to Man.
Aquaman 2, Electric Boogaloo. Episode 4, A New Aquaman. So that's a callback to the joke that we did earlier. Beloved listener, if you still put up with us after that.
And then, in addition to that, something that has also come up: Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League has been delayed again.
I
Um, they actually haven't even announced a date yet at this
yeah.
point. So it, I don't know.
Listen,
This is what I think. Well, you go ahead. Sorry.
I've been in my advanced age of 30, which I'm told is ancient in the gamer sphere. Um, I am very consistently delay the game if it's going to make it better.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah,
to no end.
yeah. No, I get that.
But if that's because the KOTOR remake has been delayed somewhat indefinitely,
Yeah,
and I'm worried that Kill the Justice League is going to trend that same way to where we're going to be sitting here 5-10 years in the future. Just, hey, remember when that thing almost
they didn't
happened?
ask us season 8.
Right? Oh, season 8. Wild.
Where we're having to put in our dentures before we start the episode.
Oh no, we actively take them out. This is a
Uh,
if you want the dentures version of the podcast, you have to pay to whatever platform we're on that doesn't exist yet. I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
no, I don't know. This is my thought. So they released Gotham Knights,
Mm-hmm.
which is, from what I could tell, it looks like the same formula that this was also going to do. Also, I think it's important to remember that this game started development 8 years ago. So,
What?
yeah, this game started development 8 years ago. We talked about this game in our review of the San Diego Comic Con. No, DC Fandom in like season 2
Golly,
is when we first talked about this.
that's upsetting.
And
What system were they developing this for 8 years ago? Is this a PS3 game?
well, and the main thing I think to consider is that what was popular at the time of 8 years ago is not necessarily popular anymore. And so I think Gotham Knights is a great example of people are tired of the that I don't know. I Gotham Knights didn't do well.
Yeah, which is a shame. The mechanics
It
are
is
there.
a shame. But I think they saw that and they got scared.
They
And they were
got they got
like,
in one little fight and their mom
we
got scared.
so we're getting the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air against the Suicide Squad.
Gonna smack them into shape. That is a 1-year-old Will Smith slap joke. You're welcome, world. Me and
So
Chris Rock making jokes a year late.
I think that they got scared
Yeah,
and they're like, "Ooh, we might need to polish this up a little bit so that people actually want to play it."
yeah. I don't know,
That's just
man.
my thoughts though.
I think there's like a whole shaker of salt to that theory. It's more than a grain. That's so incredibly plausible. It's just
Now,
disappointing because a game where you play as the villain, like, I'm kind of struggling to think of one. I'm sure they exist. I just can't think of one off the top of my head.
one prototype
Kind of. I feel like there was a morality scale in that game, though. Or no,
was
that was
there?
Infamous. Infamous definitely had a morality scale, I think.
Infamous did. Prototype, I don't think. I think it was just a
Um.
blow up the city.
Oh, AC Rogue.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I would argue you play as the villain in Assassin's Creed
And the
Rogue.
in the first like 2 hours of Assassin's Creed 3.
That's why I couldn't get into it. It didn't. I never made it past probably the first 2 hours of that game.
It was so boring the first 2 hours of that game.
That's why I bailed. It was
Yeah.
so boring.
Once you get past the beginning, it's great. I don't know why they put the beginning in there.
That's disappointing because now I'm gonna have to suffer through that to play that game. Everyone says that game's really good.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was just different. It was something that we hadn't seen yet in the AC universe. This is we're rabbit holing. Okay. Last up on the news, Mandalorian news, and just kind of some Star Wars discussion I wanted to have. The Mandalorian premiere for season 3, which I'm watching. I know you're watching it.
Oh, absolutely. I watched episode 3 earlier, like right before we started recording.
But every season has gone down a little bit as far as the viewers at the premiere. This one has, so season 2 premiere was 2 million and season 3 premiere was only 1.5.
Right, but they're releasing it on a Wednesday, which
That's
is
true.
a point against it in my book. They're releasing it in March, which is like the middle of other shows. And knowing it's a short season, I feel like a lot of people are, we can binge this when we finish this other show. Like The Last of Us just finished season 1. And I know a lot of people probably were like, hey, we're already watching this one Pedro Pascal show. We're going to watch this until the end, and then we'll watch season 3. So that's not me because, I was so invested in season 3. But I feel like there was also this, the marketing for it, at least for me, was so prevalent that it was almost a desensitization to where it's like scrolling Twitter, oh, another Mandalorian thing, cool, whatever. And then actually like watching it, the first 3 episodes of this season are incredibly compelling. Like they're very good. Well,
I haven't watched episode 3 yet.
They're not very good. They're solid. Very solid.
Season 2 is pretty good. Or season 2, episode 2.
Yeah. Episode 2 was very good. I was thinking it was like season 2 or season 2.5. The Book of Boba Fett.
That's right. Yeah.
That's why I don't like Book of Boba Fett. We have a whole show about that. It's in another episode.
Yeah. Check that out. It's literally called About Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So as far as before we get into the Suicide Squad, well, actually, let's just go ahead and get into the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
So typically in the past, what John and I have always done is we have, as a show is coming out and we enjoy it, we watch it as it comes along, and then we do reviews on each episode. We decided a few months back to stop doing that.
It was really with this season of our show, we decided to review TV seasons as a whole.
Yeah, this season, yeah. And so we're reviewing the whole series once it's fully released.
Yeah.
So come back here in a few weeks and you will get the full review of The Mandalorian. But for now, the Suicide Squad 2021. Did you have something to say, John?
Just a question that I just thought about. Is this season of The Mandalorian going to end like right at Star Wars Celebration?
I thought that just happened.
So I thought Celebration was always May the 4th.
What was the thing Star that Wars they Day. Just did where they released the lightsaber?
The what?
They released the retractable lightsaber.
I completely missed that, and now I'm upset.
Oh, well, I think that was Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, okay. Well, is the finale? Is the season finale going to be like around May the 4th? Because that'd be about 8 weeks.
I mean, assuming you said there's going to be 8 episodes, you said?
I would assume. Because, I mean, this started with episode 17.
So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be April 19th.
Really?
Unless they skip a week.
Huh. I just kind of, in my head, I kind of approximate a month is 4 weeks. And I know that's not completely true, except for February.
Yeah, March is a longer month. Or feels like a longer. Well, it's got 31 days. So I mean, I guess technically, yes, it is a. It is. It is. I don't even know. Your mom's a longer day. What?
Oh,
So the Suicide Squad 2021, um, directed, written by James Gunn. I know you've got the IMDb
I
pulled up.
do, and it's gonna freaking blind me. Oh, it's actually not that bad. Oh, no, it is. Oh no, oh no.
Oh no.
Writer director James Gunn. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, now
So
go
as
away.
I said earlier, this was one of those so this project happened because um
Someone else walked away.
yeah, I want to use a phrase, and I'm not really sure if it's appropriate or not,
Uh
but the Marvel kind of got their underwear in a bunch
oh. I hate when that happens.
um over James Gunn and some old tweets and some, I think, some false accusations. And so they basically said, we don't want you a part of the Marvel universe anymore. And so they kicked him off the team.
And then DC was like, please, please,
Yeah.
please.
And then DC was like, hey, since they kicked you off the team, you want to come for work with the other guys? And he was like, sure, why not? And then they were like, tell you what, we will give you you can make this movie and we'll give you full control. You can do whatever you want. And he was like, deal.
Yeah. Sorry, when I heard you say, do you want to come work for the other guys? In my head, I heard, aim for the bushes.
What a strange movie.
I would be completely down with a sequel to that movie.
I could do that.
So down.
I could do that.
Anyway,
So,
Suicide Squad 2021.
real quick, give us a quick synopsis of the movie.
Okay, in exchange for lighter prison sentences, just like the anti-hero team in Suicide Squad 2016, a new batch of Bell Rev's metahumans strike a deal with the cold head of Task Force X, Amanda Waller. This time, her ragtag band of superpowered convicts, including Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, and Ratcatcher 2, venture into the peril-laden South American island nation of Corto Maltese to find the Thinker, the evil scientist in charge of the mysterious Project Starfish. But as the band joins forces with an old leader of the notorious team, humankind is on the verge of extinction. Can the expendable Suicide Squad stop the new menace that could mean the end of the world as we know it? End of summary.
What happens?
Wow, what happens next?
Go watch the movie and find out.
I actually really like that as a teaser summary.
Yeah, that was good.
Do you want to know why I like that so much? Because that was like 4 sentences, and the actual plot synopsis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 full paragraphs.
I believe that. The only reason I do is because on the way home tonight, my oldest son was asking me about the movie because I didn't watch it with him for very obvious reasons. And so he was like, can you give me like a brief description of it? And I was like, sure.
Not
and
really.
it took from the time that we left our church to the time that we got home. We lived 25 minutes away.
That's about right.
Like, we pulled up into the driveway and I was like, huh. Because he was like, so give me a summary. And I was like, you know what? I should probably do that because we have to do that for the show.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a summary. And then we pulled in the driveway and I was like, I guess I'm not going to be doing a summary because that was really long.
We've already been recording for an hour. Jay, could you hit us with a 25-minute summary of this movie?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so was, so just FYI, we are a very spoiler heavy podcast. We kind of do this on the assumption that you've already watched the movie before coming to this review. So that's why we typically don't, we don't usually do a detailed summary of the movie. We kind of just talk about it. So if this is something that you have an interest in, I highly recommend going to watch it. Just to see what it's about. It's a it's a very hard movie to explain. It really is.
It really is.
It's not quite a sequel. It's not exactly a reboot.
It exists
It's
somewhere in
just
the middle.
It's just kind of there with some continuing characters, some new characters, some characters we've just forgotten about. And then some characters have been replaced with really cool characters, like Bloodsport.
Yeah, Bloodsport's really cool.
Gracious, that character was awesome.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to get too far into this before giving a very, very exceptionally key distinction between the two Suicide Squad movies. Suicide Squad 2016 is PG-13.
Doesn't have the word "the" at the beginning.
It's the difference between Ohio State University and the Ohio State University. I hate that every time, man.
That's right.
But Suicide Squad 2016 is PG-13. And when I tell you the Suicide Squad 2021 is very rated R, please know that I'm not in any way exaggerating that. Obviously, so the brief summary that I gave a little bit ago includes like 6 characters. But if you at all remember the lead up to this movie, it has a cast of like 15 different people, and like 10 of them die in the first 10 minutes. Not an exaggeration, and it is brutal. No. This is like
brutal execution.
Imagine if the Red Wedding was the first episode of Game of Thrones.
That's a good, yeah.
It's kind of what that's like.
Yep.
It's a very early don't get attached to anybody.
Yes. Very much. I made a point. I don't know. Hold on, wait. I got to turn on my self view so that I can hold this up correctly. But I made sure to say the Suicide Squad. It is bold, italicized, and underlined.
Ooh, the trifecta.
So that you know this is very different from the other one.
If you hadn't held that up, I would have made a joke of like, wow, Jay, bold, italicized, underlined, and in wingdings. I had an email. This is not a lie. I had a work email this week. Change its font to wingdings when I was copy and pasting it into something else. And the look on my face, like all my coworkers who were in the office, they were just like, what just happened to you? And I was like, my email just translated itself to hieroglyphics. So anyway, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so like what John said, most of these characters die. Like 70% of these characters die in the first 15 minutes. In a very unfortunate way.
Unceremonious, I think, is the word I would use.
That's a good word.
It's very much set up to like, these characters are super powerful and they can definitely do this. And then it's just like, or they cannot.
Yeah. I loved how Weasel from the very beginning, they all jump out of the helicopter and he starts drowning, and everybody in the office, in the headquarters, they're like, did nobody check to see if he could swim? And everybody's like, oh no, we didn't. And so he drowns, he dies, and then the very end of the movie, he like coughs up all the water and then runs away.
Do you think his so again, for those of you who may be unfamiliar, the thing about the Suicide Squad is they're villains tasked to do impossible things that you can't send heroes to do. And part of the reason they're called the Suicide Squad is because if they die on this mission, there's officially no record that the mission ever existed. But The flip side of that is if they are on the mission and they try to run away, there's an explosive device implanted into their brain. And if they go out of line, the people in the office, they just press a button, no more problem.
Yep.
So I explained that because the question I was going to ask is, was his device not working after that because he's dead in their system?
Maybe. I could see that.
Loophole.
Yeah. For real.
Just go on a Suicide Squad mission and fake your death.
So I was on the way home and I completely forgot, what was Pete Davidson's character?
Oh, I don't remember.
Because I don't remember them actually saying that he had a power set.
I think he might have just had guns. I'm looking it up. I'm going to get blinded.
It's better than having a giant javelin.
Ugh. But we love Flula. He's like the internet's German friend. Cast: Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman. I did not remember that Sylvester Stallone was the voice of King Shark. That's amazing.
It's great. I loved King Shark and Bloodsport were my two favorite characters in this movie.
He was Blackguard, an easily manipulated mercenary. That's his whole. That is his entire.
That's his power
description.
set.
Yeah, he's just
easily manipulated.
Bribe me. That's his entire shtick.
Oh gosh. But yeah, it's a brutal opening, and when like we're family friendly, so I can't go into descriptions, but Captain Boomerang throws his boomerangs and he does some things, and I saw that happen and I looked at the screen and I was like, oh, so this is that kind of movie.
Oh yeah, it was always going to be that kind of movie.
I didn't realize that going into it. So I was a little.
I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me as a person. That's part of the reason I was so excited to see it when it came out, is because a PG-13 Suicide Squad movie shouldn't work. Like when we get the Thunderbolts movie for the MCU in a couple of years, if that is PG-13, I will be disappointed. I expect it will be because it's the MCU, but I'll still be disappointed.
So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's take positive thoughts about this movie.
It uses a lot of characters that I had never heard of, and then developed very strong opinions on.
Yeah.
And you know, for the character of Peacemaker, John Cena, strong dislike. Very active. You're not supposed to like him. I would go so far as to say you're probably supposed to dislike him. And he plays it so well. I gained a lot of respect for John Cena as an actor with this role. I think he's very underrated in general. I think what he does, he's usually pretty good at. But playing a good bad guy or a bad good guy, depending on, you know, your interpretation of all of that, is very challenging. And I just alluded to it. King Shark, I did not care about. I did not know existed. I love King Shark now. Like, even I have a friend who very, very much enjoys the Harley Quinn animated show. And King Shark is on it. I've only seen, I think I've seen most of season 1. And I can't remember if King Shark is a main character or just a recurring character. But everything King Shark does is amazing. Start to finish, King Shark is a great character. So, big fan of King Shark. Alien Starfish as the villain. Bold choice. Javelin going through the eye of the alien starfish. Very visceral. I did not like it. Did you actively cringe during that scene?
I sure did.
Because I was full on like, no. I don't like it.
Sure was. Yep. Sure was. I was like, oh no. And yeah.
But I mean, like you were saying, Bloodsport is so freaking cool. Idris Elba is so good at being so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Um, what are cons of this movie? It's
Well, real, real,
it's
real
weird.
quick, I'll say my positives before we get into the negatives.
Okay.
But my positives are a lot of the same things that you said. I think one thing that James Gunn did very well is he took a bunch of characters that nobody had really heard of before, that nobody had really paid attention to. Polka Dot Man.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? Polka Dot Man?
Yeah.
And yet he was able to take Polka Dot Man and make him into a very likable, enjoyable character that by the end of it, when he unfortunately dies, you're like, oh, man,
Bummer.
I was actually kind of enjoying him a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and just the way that, but see, that's the thing though, is he does that with every character. He makes each character like you really get, he, he just does a good job of bringing a team together.
Yeah. Could you imagine in the wake of this movie if we were to ever have gotten, I know it'll never happen, obviously, but if we had ever gotten an R-rated Guardians of the Galaxy movie,
Oh gosh,
it would have been
can't
so
even
fun.
imagine.
It would like
Can't
Chris Pratt like free reign, do what you want.
unhinged.
Yeah. Bradley Cooper as Rocket, do what you want. Drax just be a love. Drax being King Shark.
Yeah, being or being even more awkward than he actually is.
Yeah, that would have been the conceptually. I love that because there's no way it would have worked. And
No.
thinking about it is the only place that it does work. So I like thinking about it.
Yeah. So that was the con of this, or the pro of this movie, was just the way that he was able to develop each character, minus the ones that all died on the beach immediately. He was able to develop each one to where by the end of it, like John said, the characters that you were supposed to like, you really liked them.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters or the character that you were not supposed to like, he died. Well, not exactly.
Died.
Yeah. But like when you saw him die, you were like, "Oh, good."
It was very satisfying.
It really was.
And then the after credit scene ruined it.
Yeah.
Because the after credit scene, he is alive in a hospital, and of all the people, so this is there's a climactic fight scene. I guess there's two. They happen at the same time. All of the team is fighting the giant starfish at the same time as Flag is fighting Peacemaker. Those are at the same time.
Yeah, from what I could tell.
Okay. And Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, and I was very upset about that. I wanted Rick Flag to live more than I wanted anyone else to live. Even Harley. Because, I mean, Harley's going to live. Just kind of the nature of how it goes. If one character has plot armor in the Suicide Squad, it's Harley Quinn.
That's true.
So when the after credit scene is they're at the hospital, I was wanting it to be Flag. But I mean, obviously I knew it was Peacemaker because the show had been announced before the movie came out. I'm pretty sure.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I was like, that's a bold decision. Like, you kind of know what's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah.
And everything I've heard about the show is it's surprisingly good.
I think I need to push and try to get through it and watch it to see what happens. But I know the first couple episodes I wasn't impressed with. But now that I have a better background on the character, I might enjoy it more. I don't know.
I don't know that that's how that's going to work. You might like him less.
That's true. Cons about the movie. It was a lot to fit into one movie.
Yes.
I
There
think
are
that was a big con.
there are parts of the movie where it feels very busy,
It does. The whole Harley Quinn side story that went on,
where she was
I
like
didn't.
seducing the leader of the island or
Yeah, I
something.
don't feel like that was necessary.
Yeah. I wonder if that was like, hey, do you remember when Harley Quinn had a solo movie? Here's why we didn't do that again.
Maybe.
Even though I'm going to be honest, the Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey movie, it's not bad. It's exceptionally mid is what I would call it. Harley Quinn and Ewan, like Margot Robbie and Ewan McGregor carry that movie. Ewan
Hmm.
McGregor plays a great villain. He just plays great everything. Let's be honest,
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
man.
But yeah, I think that was the biggest complaint was it was too busy. There was a lot going on. It was there the um you know, it didn't need two movies, but just because of how much went on, it almost
Yeah,
needed two movies.
I tell you the weird thing about what you're talking about is I completely agree with you. It's very busy, but the pacing of it, I feel like doesn't match that. Because the
Hmm.
pacing of it, like sometimes it's do a lot, do a lot, do a lot, do a lot very quickly, and then sometimes it slows down. It's never slow. It never gets to like how I talked about earlier. 2001 has half an hour with no dialogue. It never gets that slow, obviously,
Yeah.
but it's like the speed at which things happen doesn't match like the suspension of disbelief. If they need to get, you need to team up with this group of rebels who've never teamed up with anybody in the past, that doesn't happen in half an hour. Like you can't montage that. And I feel like a lot of this movie they just kind of like montage things and they happen. So that is a con.
Yeah. Um my two favorite scenes in this whole movie. My first one is when Peacemaker and Bloodsport are like doing the competition to see who
Yes.
could take out the most people silently.
Yes.
That was one of my favorite scenes. That was a very character building moment. And then the other one was the end where Polka Dot Man is upset and he's like, I can't do this. And Bloodsport's like, yes, you can, because that's your mother. And then he looks at Staryu, the giant starfish alien, and it's his mother. It's a giant version of his mother crashing the building because you find out earlier that like that's his worst fear
Mm-hmm.
and he sees his mother everywhere. So there's sometimes where it will cut to what it is that he sees, and it's like the entire Suicide Squad,
As
but
his is his
they
mother.
all look like his mother.
Yep.
And so the end, he says that, and so he's able to fight the monster because he thinks that it's his mother.
He's able to completely change the dynamic of that fight
Yeah,
because he's apparently OP and no one realized it until James Gunn was like, what if I make him the strongest member of the Suicide Squad?
it was great. It was really good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. So before we get into ratings for this movie, I guess the question that the whole reason we reviewed this,
Mm-hmm.
seeing this movie and now knowing that James Gunn, who wrote and directed this movie, is in charge of the DCU
Right.
now, how does that make you feel about what might be coming down the pipe later?
I mean, there's an inherent worry just because so much of DC's universe building has been a miss. Obviously, we talked earlier. Wonder Woman was really good. Aquaman was really good. You could make the argument those are the only two mainline DC movies that were worth anything. I love the Snyder Cut. It's 4 hours long. The average person does not like the Snyder Cut. The average
Yeah.
person hasn't seen it. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Um, I like that they were willing to make an R-rated movie. I want them to be willing to make an R-rated mainline continuity movie. I don't think that's going to happen just because it's not as marketable. Um, I don't know. There's an inherent worry on putting all of your eggs in one creator's basket
Mm.
because Marvel didn't even do that until they were established. And even then, it was never, this is what the Russo brothers made. It was, this is a movie the Russo brothers did in a bigger context. So just idealistically, I guess, or conceptually is a more accurate word. Conceptually, there's always going to be a lingering doubt that it's going to work. Based on, can they go somewhere from this movie? In terms of like a sequel, no, because it's not going to be. It's already said it is not what will be. But knowing they were willing to do this is very encouraging because that's like the one thing Marvel has not been willing to do.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense at all.
No, it does. It does. And I think to that, what I say is I I think what it does for me is what makes me nervous about the whole thing, kind of like what you're saying, you're taking one, well, I guess really two guys, and you're saying, okay, guys, y'all are in charge of the entire universe,
Mm-hmm.
cinematic DC universe, the DCCU.
Gross. Better than
And
spunk.
yes, anything's better than that.
You're not wrong.
Um, and so they're doing that, and that does make me nervous. But at the same time, I don't think that they're going to be like, oh, well, we'll just do everything.
Yeah.
I do think that they're going to get other directors, other writers involved. But it does make me nervous that they're going to be in charge of what direction everything is going to go. And I guess the main thing is I want them to listen to fans.
Yeah.
Or not listen to fans, but take fans' thoughts and ideas into consideration. And not just totally dismiss them.
Yeah. I guess it's for what you're thinking. Are you thinking more of the fans hated this movie, so we're just not going to do it, or like a Sonic the Hedgehog, where the fans saw this happen, so we're going to go back in and change everything? What was it? Was it like Sonic's teeth or
More
something?
more that. Yeah.
Yeah.
More like, oh hey, we released, let's just say they do this cartoon thing that they're doing, the creature commandos or whatever.
Right.
And it's just not well received. I would hope that they wouldn't just force it and be
Double
like, well,
down.
we're just gonna make it work.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would go, the fans didn't like that, and already have like a backup. Like, okay, well, let's just do this instead. I would hope that they do something like that. Now, as far as James Gunn, I do think that he has the capability to make this pretty amazing. Really. Because one thing for sure is I think whatever project he takes on, he becomes very passionate about.
Yeah.
And he really has a love for what it is that he's doing. And so to see what he did with this, to take characters that nobody really knew about and made a movie where by the end of it, you're like, this character is really cool. Like, I want a Bloodsport movie. How neat would that be?
That.
Like, so to know that he's doing the thing that he's doing with the random DC characters that, about Steve.
Bless you.
Muted that right on
That
time.
was very well done.
Thank you. um, but shook my brain up. Now I can't remember what I was saying.
I've never thought about that brain rattling sneeze in the middle of a thought.
um, yeah, to take those random characters that DC, I can't even remember what their name was, but it's like the random team that wasn't with the DC universe until recently when they acquired them.
Yeah.
Like he's focusing on those characters. Well, now it kind of makes sense because it looks like he's like, I like the underdog. I like the small characters that nobody pays attention to, and bring light to those characters. So it makes sense on why he's going the direction he's going. I just hope it works.
Yeah. I guess that's really where I land too. Is I don't know that I think it will work, but that does not stop me from wanting it to work.
I want it to work. I want it to be amazing. I
Yeah.
want it to be the best thing we've ever seen, but I get nervous about it.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what they end up doing with Shazam. I'm really interested to see what they end up doing with Aquaman.
Yeah.
And then we got the Flash coming up too, and that's really going to give us a really good idea of what's going to be happening.
Absolutely the barometer that we're. What is it? The canary in a coal mine.
Yeah,
that's a phrase that I've heard.
Yeah, that's what the Flash is. It's the canary in the coal mine to see, like, okay,
how are we doing?
Where are we going from here?
Yeah.
I will say this: it does appear they have a much clearer direction than the MCU right now.
Which is weird because the MCU is planned out until like we retire.
Yeah. That's what they say anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I guess real quick then, let's give a rating for this movie. This one alone as a standalone. Okay. Where do we rate it?
Just a standard 1 to 10.
Yes, on a scale of 1 to 10 million rats.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5. Did you say 1,000 rats or million rats?
I said million because there was quite a number of rats there at the end of the movie.
7.5 million rats. Okay. I will say, and this is a reflection of my personal media taste, far and away superior to 2016 Suicide Squad, solely because the R rating allows them to do more. And like I said earlier, the true Suicide Squad content is not PG-13. So from a baseline of that alone, I think it's better. But also, the characters are more compelling. The development is very good. And it's just you don't expect it to be as good as it is, but you also don't expect it to be, it's not winning Best Picture. It is not. Yeah. It is not in that conversation. It is not necessarily. And it's not supposed to be. No, not at all. It's not a good critically acclaimed movie, but I would say it's very fun.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. 7.5 out of 10.
So if you had asked me how I thought this movie was going to go at the beginning, I would have told you that I was not very confident in what I was going to see.
Yeah.
But by the end of the movie, I was like, that was pretty good.
I'm excited to watch this with my son eventually, maybe, probably.
Yes. I was like, that actually was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm also gonna. I don't like half scales, so I'm gonna give it a 7 million rats.
Okay.
Directly through the eyeball.
Ouch! What a way to go.
Yeah. And but that was. Oh yeah, I forgot. Bloodsport had a phobia of rats.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends with him, the rat's sleeping on his leg, and he's like shaking, and he goes down to pet it, and then he falls asleep himself. I guess that's another thing to note about James Gunn is he knows he knows that these movies are not going to win awards. Like he knows that,
Yeah. And he
but
still
that's not
makes
the
them as
reason
good as he can.
that's not the reason why he does it. I really
Yeah.
don't think he does it for the awards. He does it because he's like, I want to have fun with this.
Yeah.
So let's just make it the best that we can.
Yeah. See, now you have me curious. Did it get nominated for anything?
I highly, highly doubt it.
Um, Not anything super prestigious, no.
I mean, the
But
visual effects were pretty good.
that's most of it is visual effects, makeup, um
Costume
that
design.
that type of stuff. Yeah. The type of stuff comic book movies are normally nominated for.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool. All right. Well, um,
gonna give
that
it
was the Suicide Squad.
the
The
Suicide Squad.
the Suicide.
Would
I
it
can't even say it.
would it be really funny if they had made it like a short of a completely separate team and it was called The Other Suicide Squad? I've always joked about wanting to start The Other Ohio State University just to be petty, but I feel like that would have been that's the one joke. And then it's not even funny, but I don't know.
So next up, starting in April 3rd, we are going to be
So
reviewing
excited.
John Wick
I'm
Chapter
so
4.
excited. Everything I've seen coming out about people who have like seen early releases of this movie, like the critic releases, everything says it's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm
It
pretty
like
excited.
recaptures the vibe of early John Wick. Because and we've talked about this before, I think it starts good and gets worse, which is
Yeah,
very rare for most trilogies. So the fact that everyone is coming out and saying this is potentially the best one, and like everything's backing that up,
that's saying something.
I'm so excited.
John's so excited he's almost knocked his microphone off
I just got
the
super
hinge.
loud. I'm very excited. I think it was the volume knob on my headphones.
Oh.
I deafened myself, and it was not great. It was not a great experience. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. No, but I'm very, very excited for John Wick Chapter 4.
Oh boy.
And at
So
the end
that's
of
what we got.
April, Jay, I know you're excited for this. I'm excited about this. I might pre-order this today, actually. Star Wars Jedi Survivor comes out.
Yes, I am very excited. Will I be buying it now? Probably not. I'm most likely going to wait. I tend to wait with most things. I don't know. I get nervous about
Yeah.
buying stuff when it
Yeah.
first comes out.
It's completely fair. And I'll tell you the one dumb thing that has me super excited for this game is there's like 5 different styles of lightsaber combat.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm like from the get-go. I think you would have to unlock them as you go, but the skill tree of being able to just commit to a double like the what is it, Jarkai is what Ahsoka is, that you could just commit to the 2 lightsaber fighting style and go with it. I want it. That's what I wanted in the first game, and I didn't get it.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
It's gonna be
It's
a
gonna
good
be fun.
summer. It's gonna be a good summer. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be bold.
Good summer. All right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we'll wrap up, but we'll be back in 2 weeks with John Wick Chapter 4.
Yes.
And we get to hear John scream and squeal about how excited he was while watching the movie.
Hopefully.
And hopefully, yeah.
If that episode starts and I'm sad, it is not good for the rest of the movie.
Oh dear. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, but until then, nerd out.